Good morning, everybody. Today we're doing a bit of an unboxing. Well, it looks like somebody sent us a new scan tool, so we're gonna open it up and try it out. So you can see here we've got our XTool Smart Diagnostic System IP819. Alright, so it comes with this very nice carrying case. Let's go ahead and get it opened. Right up top we have our user manual, XTool IP819 Smart Diagnostic System. We've got our OBD2 diagnostic cable. Looks like we have a few different wall adapters here, probably for different outlets in different countries. That looks like the one we'll be using. And our wall charger. I'm sure we'll need to put some juice in it before we can do too much reviewing on it. And a USB style cable. USB on both ends, plugs into this wall outlet. Foam cover. And there's our XTool tablet. Very nice. Let's see if it's got juice in it. Press and hold our power button up top. All right. Nice introduction screen with a Ferrari rolling in. And there we have it. So it looks like we've got quite a few different options. We've got an auto scan to auto detect whatever vehicle we're working on, or we can go into diagnosis. And it looks like we've got quite a few different vehicles that we're able to work on here. We've got European, Asian, American, Chinese, Australian vehicles, and EV has its own section on here. And the touchscreen does work pretty well even through these latex gloves that I'm wearing, which is important because I will be using this a lot in the shop. All right, let's see what we've got for special functions here. You can see we've got quite a few special functions listed here. My guess is that these are not available for every manufacturer. We'll have to go out into the shop and try it on a few different vehicles to find out. But it looks like we've got quite a few options here for what we can calibrate and what this scan tool can do. Very impressed so far. Key programming, power balancing, language changing, transport mode, activation and deactivation, high voltage battery systems, gear learning, gearbox matching. steering angle sensors, oil reset, electronic parking brake activation, deactivation, EEPROM data, so we can probably program different control modules, which is very nice to have. So quite a few special functions in here. We can even pull up different reports. So it looks like we can save and play back diagnostic reports if we need to pull anything up from the history. And we can also operate this tablet remotely if we need to, in case the screen stops working. Settings, we can change our language. Units. Looks like I've got a subscription through 2026, which sounds about right. When you buy this, it does come with a 3-year subscription, so you will get software updates available if it's connected to the internet, which is very nice. And when we go to more, we have a user manual also in the system. So pretty nice. What I'm going to do next is I'll throw it on the charger for a little while before we take it out into the shop, and we'll try it out on a few different vehicles and see how it performs. So you can see here it's got the full diagnostic report. We can save it if we would like to go ahead and save this. It's got my Yukon in here, it's got my mileage. We'll go ahead and save that report for later just in case we need it. But just for fun, let's go into our engine control module. So we've got a few different options here. We can read and clear fault codes. That's all good. We can pull up some live data. We can do some actuation tests. We can do a compressor relay, camshaft position, compression test, cylinder deactivation test, fuel system test, evap system test, starter relay. So we've got quite a few different fault codes open to us. We can even pull up a misfire graphic if we're trying to diagnose a misfire on this vehicle. So on these GM vehicles, this is capable of doing quite a bit, which is very nice. So we can also relearn a few different sensors here. We can do a brake pedal position learn, crankshaft position variation learn, oxygen sensor learning, and idle relearning. I'm also going in here to take a look at our inspection, our maintenance data, to see what it pulls up for me. So it looks like it pulls up some actual values for temperature, fuel tank level, position sensors, engine run time. Currently we don't have any fault codes, so we're not being requested to turn on our engine light, so that's all good. Let's see if we can run a test for this haptic feedback motor and see what kind of results it gives us. Maybe it'll give us a diagnostic path. So we do have an actuation test for our seat cushion haptic motors. So let's do a left rear haptic movement. So we'll do enable. So I heard a noise, but there was no actual haptic movement. So let's try our right rear. There we go. There I've got some noise. So I know that my right front haptic movement motor is good, but we've definitely got a fault code in we've definitely got a fault with our left rear haptic movement motor. So I've got this new scan tool that was sent to me from XTool. It's not bad so far. We're just kind of going around testing the different special functions that it can do. And so far on your Hyundai, inside of the ECM, it looks like we can do a few different things. It looks like we could read and write the VIN if we were replacing the control module, auto detect configuration, reset some adaptation values, alternator test, and an evap leakage test. So just for fun, let's go ahead and run that evap leak test.
Let's do the evap, just because, you know, most scan tools will just not do the test properly, so.
Yeah, so let's see what it can do here. Now let's make sure we meet all of our preconditions. Test complete, no leak detected. So that's pretty good sign. I mean, yeah, not bad for this scan tool. So we do have access to some of these special functions. Like I said, we don't have access to everything for every vehicle, but for most domestic and most Asian vehicles, I think this scan tool would get you by.
Looks good.
So kind of taking a look over here at this diagnostic report, we've got a few failures in our tire pressure monitoring system and a failure in our ABS. We can go here to our DTC report. And this is a list of all of our fault codes that we're currently showing. So we've got a lost communication fault code and sensor voltages low in all of our TPMS sensors. All right, so overall, it looks like we're able to do most of what we need to on domestic and foreign vehicles, but pretty impressed with this scan tool. Like I said, not bad. You can find these on Amazon for about $450. You can get the version with tire pressure monitoring, and that's about $150 more, but that would allow you to program and calibrate TPMS sensors. So I think for most people, this scan tool would be more than enough. The other nice thing about this scan tool is every time I go to exit the vehicle, it asks me if I want to submit the report, and that's just a nice way to save everything that I'm doing on here. So we'll input our mileage here and we'll get it saved. All right, so out here inside of the Aston, we're gonna see if we can auto scan. All right, so unfortunately it doesn't automatically pick up the Aston Martin. Let's see if it's even got it as an option. Okay, so it does have Aston Martin listed here. After manually inputting the VIN on this car, we are able to figure out that it is a 2009 Aston Martin V8 Vantage Coupe, left-hand drive. Now on these cars, there are two separate diagnostic connectors. So I'm currently plugged in to the diagnostic connector for the engine and transmission. So we'll have to plug it into the other side to see if we can communicate with the rest of the systems. First, let's see what kind of information we can get from the engine and transmission control. Okay, we'll go to our DTC report. Master volumetric airflow, manifold absolute barometric pressure sensor, mass airflow sensor, oxygen sensor, torque calculation, exhaust silencer, bypass control loop, forced power limit of throttle actuator control system, signal of oxygen sensor, failure of the next gear meshing, move failure, mechanical failure, gear engagement, gear signal value incorrect, current gear disengage failure, mechanical cause, gear selection and clutch uncalibrated. So we've got quite a few faults in this transmission. We'll see if we can remedy any of these. I'm interested to see what kind of calibrations we can do with our transmission on this car with this scan tool. So let's go into the transmission and see what kind of live data we're getting. We get some values for position angles, clutch position reference, wear index of clutch. Okay, so we do get quite a few actual values here, but it doesn't look like we have full capabilities in terms of programming, resetting, recalibrating on this Aston Martin. So we will have to get the correct software if we want to do the work on this Aston Martin transmission. For the price, $450, it does what I expect it to. A few extra options, nice for domestic and import vehicles. Like we saw on the Aston Martin, it can't do some of the control module programming on that vehicle. That would be asking a lot. If it could do the exotics and some of the higher end imports, if it could do that kind of control module programming, I'd be very impressed. But for domestic and Asian vehicles, this does more than enough. So it's definitely got a spot in my shop. Definitely going to be handy for doing mobile visits and mobile services, so I'll keep it around, that's for sure. It'll get plenty of use here. Now if you are interested in purchasing one of these systems, use the link down below with the discount code to save a few bucks. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.